I stood at the front door with a suitcase that felt heavier than my pride. The moment I walked in, the smell of roasted chicken hit me home, but not really. "Ethan," my mom called from the kitchen. "What are you doing here?" I forced a smile. "Hey, Mom, I just needed a place to stay for a while." She wiped her hands on a towel, staring at me like I'd said something strange. "Stay? Why? Don't you have that fancy apartment downtown?" "Not anymore," I said quietly. "I lost my job last week." My father's voice came from behind the newspaper. "Lost your job again?" He lowered it and raised an eyebrow. "How many times does that make it now?" "Dad," he chuckled, "you are always chasing something too big. Entrepreneur, dreamer, all that nonsense. Maybe now you'll learn." I felt my throat tighten. I worked hard for that company. They downsized. It wasn't my fault. He laughed full and sharp. "Blame the world if it helps you sleep?" Mom sighed, pulling a chair out. "Sit, eat. Maybe you'll think clearer on a full stomach." I sat, though the food looked like sand on my plate. "I just need a little time to figure things out. Maybe stay here for a bit." Mom hesitated. "For how long?" "I don't know. A few weeks, until I get back on my feet." Dad scoffed. "You're 30 and still talking like a teenager. You should have listened when I told you to get a government job. I wanted to build something of my own." "Build?" He laughed again, slapping the table. "You can't even build stability for yourself." Something inside me cracked. "I'm not asking for much. Just a roof until I get things sorted." Before he could reply, Adam strolled in, car keys jingling. "Whoa. Look who's back. The family disappointment," I glared. "Nice to see you too," he smirked. "Dad, did you hear?" Ethan's broke again. Dad snorted. "Oh, I heard." Adam leaned against the fridge. "Guess that Tesla test drive was a bad idea, huh?" "Enough, Adam," Mom said, but she was smiling too. That hurt most. I pushed my chair back slowly. "You know, I thought maybe you'd understand. I thought maybe I could come home, not be mocked." Mom sighed. "You take everything so personally. We're just being honest. Honest." I said, "You're laughing while I'm drowning?" Dad folded his arms. "We're laughing because you keep jumping into the same ocean, expecting not to get wet." I clenched my fists under the table. "You think failure means I'm worthless?" "It means you should grow up," he said flatly. Adam chuckled. "Maybe I should lend you some cash." "Interest, of course." I stood. "Keep your money. Keep your advice." "I shouldn't have come." Mom frowned. "Don't be dramatic." "Dramatic?" I said, "You think this is easy for me? I lost everything and I still came here hoping." I stopped. The words tasted bitter. "No, forget it." Dad leaned back, smirking. "Always the victim." I grabbed my suitcase. My hands were shaking, but I didn't let them see it. "You'll regret this one day." He laughed again, low and dismissive. "I doubt it." I turned to Mom. "You could have said, 'I'm glad you're home,' just once." She looked away. "Goodbye, Ethan." I walked out. The night air was cold, biting at my skin. Behind me, laughter echoed from inside the house, laughter that used to make me feel safe. Now it hollowed me out. As I reached the gate, I whispered, "One day, I'll make them eat those words." And for the first time that night, I smiled, not because I was okay, but because I finally knew what I had to do. The night swallowed me whole. My shoes scraped the pavement as I dragged my suitcase behind me. Every step heavier than the last. I muttered under my breath. Homeless at 30. "Nice job, Ethan." My phone buzzed. One name blinked on the screen. "Maya," I answered. "Hey, you sound terrible," she said. "Where are you?" "Outside. Walking nowhere." Nowhere isn't a place. "Tell me where you are." I looked around. "Corner of 5th and Maple." "Stay there," she said. "I'm coming." I wanted to argue, but my voice cracked. "Okay." 10 minutes later, headlights swept over me. Maya stepped out of her car, still wearing her cafe uniform, hair tied up, face tired but kind. "Get in," she said softly. I hesitated. "I don't want to be a burden." "You already are," she teased, opening the door. Now move before I change my mind. I managed a weak smile and got in. Inside, the heater hummed. She glanced at me. So, what happened this time? My parents happened, I said. They laughed when I told them I lost everything. Her eyebrows shot up. They laughed. Yeah, said I deserved it. Even Adam joined in. She gripped the wheel tighter. Your brother's still a jerk, huh? Worse, I said. He offered me a loan with interest. She snorted. Unbelievable. You always did have the most charming family. Guess I'm lucky. She looked at me sideways. You crying? I shook my head, but my voice broke. No, just tired. Liar, she said gently. Cry if you need to. I turned toward the window. I'm fine. She didn't push. The silence stretched, soft and warm. When we reached her small apartment, she tossed me a towel and pointed to the couch. Showers down the hall. You can stay here until you figure things out, she said. Maya, I can't. You can. You will. And don't start with your pride speech. I'm not your father. That hit harder than I expected. I swallowed. Thanks, she shrugged. Don't thank me. Just don't give up again. After a long shower, I sat on her couch and borrowed clothes. She handed me tea. So, she said, sitting cross-legged on the floor, what's next for the great Ethan Carter? I stared into the steam. Honestly, I don't know. I failed too many times. Then fail one more time, she said. But this time, fail forward. Fail forward. She smiled. You always talk about building something. So build, even if it's small. Just don't stop trying. Her words lodged deep in me. You really think I can start again? I know you can, she said. You're too stubborn not to. I laughed weakly. Stubborn. That's one word for it. Sleep now, she said, standing. Tomorrow, you start again. That night I stared at the ceiling. For the first time in months, someone believed in me without asking for anything. I didn't deserve her kindness, but it lit a spark I thought I'd lost. The next morning, she slid a job flyer across the table. They need help at my cafe. Pays trash, but it's a start. I looked at it. You serious? Dead serious. You'll hate it, but it'll keep you moving. Fine, I said, grinning faintly. But only if you promise not to fire me, she smirked. No promises. I laughed, a real one this time. Okay, I'll do it. That day, as I scrubbed tables and took orders, something inside me shifted. Every spilled coffee, every rude customer, every aching muscle, it all built something invisible, grit. When I got home that night, I opened my old notebook and wrote one line across the page. I will rise again. And for the first time, I actually believed it. The first few months were hell. I lived off instant noodles and cheap coffee, crashing on Maya's floor because rent was a dream I couldn't afford. One morning, she poked my shoulder. You're going to kill yourself if you keep skipping meals. I groaned. If I stop working, I'll never get out of this hole. She crossed her arms. You can't work if you collapse first. I'll be fine, I said, though my hand shook as I typed. She sighed. What are you even doing? Starting something new, I muttered. Handmade phone cases. Simple, affordable. I'll sell them online. Do you even know how to make them? I gave her a weak grin. Not yet. But I'll learn. Maya rolled her eyes. You never quit, do you? Quitting's easy, I said. I've had enough of easy. That became my routine. Cafe shifts by day, designs by night. I used cheap silicone molds, messed up more than I succeeded. But every mistake burned into me like a lesson. A week later, Maya leaned over my laptop. You sold one? I smiled to myself. Testing the site, she laughed. You're insane. Maybe, I said, but insane's better than broke. Months blurred together. My eyes were always heavy, my stomach always empty. But I didn't stop. I kept hearing my father's voice in my head. You can't build stability for yourself. Every time it echoed, I worked harder. One night, Maya found me asleep at the table, surrounded by scraps of material. Ethan, she whispered, shaking me. You need to rest. I blinked awake. I can't. I'm close to getting it right. Close to dying, maybe, I chuckled weakly. If it works, it'll all be worth it. She stared at me. You really believe that, don't you? I have to, I said. It's all I've got left. Weeks later, I launched my online shop. I waited for sales. Nothing. Maybe you need better marketing, Maya said. I can't afford marketing, I muttered. Then be your own. I grabbed my phone, snapped a photo of one case under sunlight, and posted it online with a caption, made by a broke dreamer who refused to quit. Hours passed. Silence. I almost deleted the post until my phone started buzzing nonstop, Ethan. Maya shouted from across the room. Your post, look. I opened it. Thousands of likes. Comments pouring in. Is this real? I whispered. She grinned. Looks real to me. Orders flooded the site that night. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You did it, she said, clapping my shoulder. Not yet, I replied, heart pounding. This is just the start. I spent the night packing boxes, printing labels, and answering emails until my fingers ached. The clock hit 4 a.m. and I still hadn't stopped. Maya leaned against the doorway, yawning. You're insane, you know that? Yeah, I said, smiling. But I'm finally insane for the right reason. She laughed softly. I'm proud of you. It made me pause. No one had said that to me in years. Thanks, I said quietly. When she went to bed, I sat alone under the dim light scrolling through messages from strangers who loved my work. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel like a failure. I looked down at my stained hands, the calluses on my fingers, and whispered, this is just the beginning. The city outside was still dark. But inside me, something burned brighter, hotter, unstoppable. And I knew I'd never let it die again. 2 years can change everything. I still remember the sound of tape sealing my first package. And now, I hear printers worry in an office with my name on the door, Carter Designs. Ethan, we hit another milestone. Maya burst into my office, waving a report. 10,000 sales this quarter. I leaned back in my chair, smiling. Already? Didn't we just celebrate 5? That was last month, she said, grinning. You're officially the comeback story of the year. Laughed. Comeback story, huh? That sounds better than guy who used to live on your couch. You mean my couch? She teased. And yes, it's an upgrade. I looked around the small office, bright light, clean desks, walls covered in sketches. It's still hard to believe this is real. She crossed her arms. Believe it. You built this from nothing. Be proud. I nodded, though part of me couldn't. I keep waiting for it to all fall apart. It won't, she said firmly. You worked too hard for that. Her confidence steadied me as always. I smiled. Remind me to give you a raise. You say that every week, she said, laughing. Still waiting. Yeah, I said, pretending to check my phone. You'll get it after I buy new furniture. She rolled her eyes. You've got a company now. You can afford a couch that's not from a thrift store. Maybe. But that couch started it all, I said softly. Maya's smile faded a little. You still think about them, don't you? I hesitated. Sometimes. Not because I miss them. Just disbelief. They threw me away like I was nothing. She nodded. And now? Now, I'm everything they said I couldn't be. Maya sighed. That's satisfying, I'm sure. But don't let revenge be your fuel forever. It's not revenge anymore, I said quietly. It's survival. She didn't argue. Instead, she glanced at the clock. Lunch. You read my mind, I said. We walked down the street to the small diner we used to dream in. The waitress recognized us and smiled. The usual? Yeah, I said. Extra fries. We're celebrating. Aya grinned. You say that every week, too. Every week deserves a reason, I said. While we waited for food, my phone buzzed again. Investor emails. Partnership offers, messages from people who once ignored me. It felt good. Maya leaned over. You can finally relax, you know? Relaxation feels weird, I said. I'm used to fighting. And fight to stay happy, she said softly. Her words stuck with me the whole walk back. For the first time, I wasn't struggling to survive. I was living. My new apartment was small but bright, filled with sketches, notes, and the hum of my printer. I'd made it. That night, I sat on my balcony scrolling through the day's sales. The city lights flickered below, each one reminding me how far I'd come. Then a new notification appeared. An email. From Mom. I froze. My pulse quickened as I clicked it open. Ethan, it read, we need your help. Just 6 words. No greeting. No apology. No warmth. Maya's voice echoed in my head. Don't let revenge be your fuel forever. I stared at the screen, unsure if I felt anger or pity. 2 years ago, they laughed while I begged for a roof. Now they were reaching out to me, the son they'd mocked, failure they'd disowned. I whispered to myself, so they finally remembered my name. The city outside went quiet. I set the phone down and leaned back in my chair, feeling the past tap softly at my door. And for the first time, I didn't know if I should open it. My phone rang late one night while I was reviewing design proposals. Unknown number. I almost ignored it until I heard her voice. Ethan, my mother said, soft and trembling. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. Mom, yes? She whispered. It's been a while, I said. Not that anyone was counting. She sighed. I know, I'm sorry. We should have called sooner? I leaned back, crossing my arms. Why are you calling now? She hesitated. Your father's business collapsed. Adam's in trouble? In trouble? Gambling? She said quietly. He owes a lot. And your father, he lost everything trying to help him. I closed my eyes. So now you need me. Ethan, please, she said. We didn't know who else to turn to. You could have turned to the man who laughed at me when I lost everything, said bitterly. That was wrong, she murmured. He regrets it, does he? Yes. He's not well, Ethan. The stress, he barely sleeps. For a second, I almost felt pity. Almost. What do you want me to do? Just meet us, she said. Talk to us, please. I should have hung up, but my voice betrayed me. Fine, tomorrow. Noon. When the call ended, I sat there staring at the wall. Maya walked in, holding 2 mugs of coffee. You look like you've seen a ghost. Close, I said. My parents. She froze. What did they want? Help. Her eyes narrowed. And you're going? I shouldn't, I said. But I need to. Why? I sighed, because I need to see it. The look in their eyes, when the roles reverse. Maya frowned. Don't let hatred drag you backward. It's not hate, I said quietly. It's closure. The next day, I drove to the restaurant. They'd chosen a fancy place I couldn't afford 2 years ago. I spotted them instantly. My father looked smaller, older. My mother's smile was stretched too wide. Ethan, she said, standing. You look wonderful. I sat down. You look the same. Dad cleared his throat. You've done well for yourself, I said. Apparently, I'm the successful son now. He forced a chuckle. We always knew you'd make it. I almost laughed. That's funny. I remember you saying I'd end up on the street. He looked down. I was wrong. About a lot of things, I said. Mom reached for my hand. We're sorry, Ethan. Truly. We just need money, I finished. Her lips trembled. We're desperate. I leaned back, studying them. Do you remember when I came to you like this? When I had nothing? She nodded slowly. You laughed, I said. You told me to grow up. I know, she whispered. And I regret it every day. Regret doesn't erase it. Dad sighed heavily. I deserve your anger. But please don't punish your mother for my mistakes. Don't act noble now, I said sharply. You both made your choice. You met my eyes for the first time. I did, and I'm paying for it. But your mother, she still believes in you. I felt something twist inside me. Pity? Anger? I couldn't tell. I'll think about it, I said. Finally, Mom squeezed my hand. That's all we ask. I stood. Enjoy your meal. It's on me. Her voice cracked. Ethan, wait, but I was already walking out. Outside, I leaned against my car, breathing hard. For years, I'd imagined this moment. Me, successful, them begging. I thought it would feel like victory. It didn't. It just felt heavy. When I got home, Maya asked, "Did you get your closure?" I shook my head. No, just more questions. She touched my arm. "Don't lose yourself in their mess." I nodded slowly, staring out the window. "I won't, but something tells me they're not done yet." When Mom called again, her voice was too cheerful. "Ethan, we're having dinner this weekend. As a family. Come home, okay?" Home. The word felt foreign now. "Sure," I said flatly. "What's the occasion?" "Just dinner," she said quickly. "Your father insists." I almost said no, but curiosity got the better of me. "Fine, Saturday." When I pulled up to the house, nothing had changed. The same cracked driveway, same porch light flickering weakly. But I had changed. My car, my clothes, my silence, all reminders of the man they'd underestimated. Mom greeted me with a wide smile. "Ethan, you look wonderful." "Thanks," I said, stepping inside. "Smells the same in here." She laughed nervously. "Your father's in the living room." We invited a few neighbors. "They're dying to meet our successful son." "Neighbors." I raised an eyebrow. "Didn't know this was a press conference." She ignored that. "Come on." The living room was crowded with faces I barely remembered. My father stood in the center, a drink in hand mid-story. "And that's when Ethan closed his first international deal," he said proudly. I blinked. "You were there for that, huh?" He turned, startled. "Ah, there's the man of the hour." People clapped. My jaw tightened. "Ethan, tell them how you started," he said, grinning. "Remember, I told you hard work pays off." I smiled thinly. "Actually, I remember doing it alone." A few polite laughs followed, unsure and awkward. My father's grin faltered, but he recovered fast. "That's my boy, humble as ever." Mom squeezed my shoulder. "Don't make that face. He's just proud." "Pride looks different when it's convenient," I said quietly. Adam walked in, dressed in expensive clothes he clearly didn't pay for. "Hey, big brother." "Long time no see." I nodded. "Adam," he slapped my back like we were close. "Man, I've been hearing about your success non-stop. You really made it, huh?" "I did," I said, sipping my water. "Surprised you noticed?" He chuckled. "Hard not to when everyone's talking about you." "Anyway, I actually wanted to ask," I groaned. "Here it comes. Relax," he said, raising his hands. "Just a small favor. Loan. You know, family helping family." I laughed, sharp, humorless. "You want a loan?" "Don't make it sound bad," he said defensively. "I'll pay you back with what?" "Your imaginary savings?" Mom frowned. "Ethan, don't be cruel." "Cruel?" I said. "I begged you for help once. You told me to grow up. I was different," she said softly. "You were lost, and now that I'm found, I'm useful." Silence filled the room. My father cleared his throat. "Ethan, we just wanted to celebrate you." "Let's not ruin tonight." "Ruin it?" I said. "It was ruined the moment you decided my success was yours to brag about." The neighbors pretended not to listen, but their eyes stayed fixed on us. I suddenly felt suffocated by walls that used to feel safe. "I need some air," I muttered, setting my glass down. Outside, the night was calm. Crickets hummed where laughter used to live. The porch creaked under my weight, just like it had when I was a kid. Through the window, I saw them smiling again, pretending everything was fine. Maybe for them it was. For me, it was a funeral for every piece of affection I'd ever tried to save. Maya's words replayed in my head. "Don't let hatred drag you backward." She was right. I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. I looked at the house, that monument of old pain, and finally understood I didn't owe them anything. Not forgiveness, not money, not my presence. I whispered into the quiet, "I'm not your boy anymore." Then I turned away, leaving their laughter behind for the last time. Maya noticed before I said a word. "You're quieter than usual," she said, sliding a cup of coffee across my desk. "What's going on?" I hesitated. Adam's in debt. Her brow furrowed. Again. This time it's serious, I said. He owes people money he can't repay. My father tried to help and lost the rest of what little they had. She sat down slowly. And your mom still calling me, I said. Every day? He answered. No, she frowned. Ethan, I don't owe them anything, I cut in. They made their choice. Now they're living with it. She crossed her arms. You think that makes you different from them? I didn't abandon anyone, I snapped. They left me first. Maybe, she said softly. But this sounds like revenge wearing a halo. I stared at her. You're saying I should help them? After everything? I'm saying you should look at what holding on to this is doing to you? Her voice lingered in my head long after she left. I tried to drown it out by working Emma's meetings. Orders, but every word she'd said followed me like a shadow. That night, my phone rang again. Mom, I stared at it until it stopped. Seconds later, another call. Dad, then Adam. I turned the phone face down and muttered, Karma's got this. But the words didn't sound convincing anymore. The next morning, Maya walked into my office, her expression unreadable. Your mother came to the cafe. I froze. What? She waited outside, Maya said. Didn't come in. She just asked if you were okay. Then she left. I exhaled sharply. Of course she did. Guilt makes people do dramatic things. Maya didn't smile. Oh. You're enjoying this, aren't you? I glared. Enjoying. Oh. But I'm not sorry either. Maybe you should be. Why? I said. They laughed when I begged for help. They watched me fall. Now they're falling. That's balance. She looked straight at me. That's bitterness. The word hit like a punch. I'm not bitter, I said. I just don't care anymore. Maya shook her head. You care enough to talk about them every day. You care enough to keep proving they were wrong. I tried to speak, but nothing came out. She took a step closer. You're becoming like them, Ethan. Cold, proud. Just in a different direction. That broke something in me. You don't understand, I said. You didn't see their faces that night. You didn't hear them laugh. I didn't have to, she said. I can hear you now. You sound exactly like the man you swore you'd never become. Her words hung between us. I wanted to argue, to tell her she was wrong, but deep down she wasn't. She sighed. You built everything they said you couldn't. Don't let hate be the last thing you build. Then she left. The office felt colder without her voice. I sat there for hours, staring at my phone, unread messages piling up. Mom, please call us. Dad's not doing well. Adam, I messed up, bro. Please. My chest felt tight. I whispered to myself, they didn't care when it was me. But even as I said it, I knew it wasn't the same anymore. That night, I couldn't sleep. The city outside hummed, but inside, all I could hear was Maya's voice. You're becoming like them. I turned my phone over, thumb hovering above the call button, then I set it back down. Maybe tomorrow, or maybe never. I wasn't sure anymore whether my silence made me cruel or free. The headline hit me like a punch. The successful son and his ruined parents. I stared at the article on my screen, my photo beside theirs. My smiling face, next to my father's desperate eyes. Maya leaned over my shoulder. They really did that? Front page, I said. Apparently pity sells better than success. She frowned. They made you sound like the villain. I nodded. That's the point. You should say something. No, I said quietly. Let them talk. The next morning, reporters were camped outside my office. Ethan, is it true you refuse to help your parents? Are you letting them go homeless? Do you have a statement? I kept walking, ignoring the flashes. Each question scraped at me like glass. When I got inside, my phone was buzzing again, Mom. I let it ring. Then again, and again. Finally, I picked up. What do you want? Her voice shook. Please, Ethan. The press is making it worse. We can't go anywhere without being followed. That's not my problem, I said. It is now, she said softly. They know you're our son. I laughed bitterly. You remember that now?" She didn't answer. Then Dad's voice came on the line. "Ethan, enough. Whatever you think we deserve, it's gone too far." "Too far?" I said. "You humiliated me when I needed you most. Now the world's just balancing things out." "This isn't balance. It's cruelty," he said. "Funny," I said. "Remember you saying the same thing when you kicked me out?" Silence. Then Mom whispered, "Can we see you? Please. Just once." Something inside me shifted. "Fine. Tomorrow, noon." When I arrived at the cafe, they were already waiting. Dad looked older than I remembered, gray at the temples, hands trembling slightly. Mom's eyes were red. "Ethan," she said, standing. "Thank you for coming." Sat down. "Make it quick." Dad cleared his throat. "We didn't mean for things to go this far. The press twisted everything."
How you know?
"Did they twist the part where you called me a disappointment?" I asked. He looked down. I was angry. "We're proud," I said. "Too proud to see I was drowning." Mom reached across the table. "We're not proud now. We're sorry." Stared at her hand but didn't take it. "Sorry doesn't fix the years you made me feel like nothing." She wiped her tears. "We just want to start over." "There's no start over," I said. "You can't rebuild something that never existed." Dad's voice cracked. "We were wrong. I see that now. You don't owe us forgiveness, but we need you to know we—" I cut him off. "Stop. You taught me how to survive pain. And now, I know what love shouldn't look like." Mom sobbed quietly. "Please, Ethan, don't hate us." "I don't," I said. "That's the sad part. I don't feel anything at all." "What?" Dad covered his face with his hands. "You've changed." "I had to," I said. "You forced me to." Maya's words echoed in my head again. "Don't let hate be the last thing you build." I wasn't building hate now, just walls. I stood. "You'll get through this. You always said pain makes people stronger. I guess you'll find out." Mom's voice trembled. "So this is it?" I nodded. "This is goodbye." As I walked away, Dad called out, "Ethan." I turned once. He looked small, broken, human. "I'm proud of you," he said. I wanted to believe him, but the words came too late. Outside, the air felt lighter. For the first time, I didn't feel angry or guilty. I just felt free. The office felt quieter than usual. Maya noticed before I did. "You've been somewhere else lately," she said, dropping a file on my desk. I rubbed my temples. "Just tired." "You don't get tired," she said. "You get haunted." "Haunted?" She nodded. "By people you pretend not to care about." I sighed. "They're not my problem anymore. Then why do you keep checking your phone every hour?" I didn't answer. The silence was enough. She leaned on my desk. "You don't have to forgive them, Ethan, but you can stop fighting ghosts." "Easy for you to say, hard for you to admit," she said gently. Her words followed me all week. I worked like a machine, drowning in meetings and deadlines, but something gnawed at me, a quiet emptiness I couldn't ignore. Success didn't feel like victory anymore. It just felt unfinished. One evening, I sat alone in my apartment, staring at the blank screen of my laptop. The city buzzed outside, alive and bright, while I felt frozen in place. I whispered to myself, what do I even want from them? The answer came slower than I expected, nothing. I didn't want love or approval or apology. I just wanted peace. So I opened a new document and began to type. "Mom, Dad, I'm not writing to make peace or to reopen old wounds. I just want to end this properly." The words flowed easily. Years of anger poured out not as blame, but as truth. "You hurt me when I needed you. But I also understand now that people break others when they're broken themselves. You taught me resilience, though not in the way a parent should. You taught me to stand when no one reached out a hand." I paused, my fingers trembling. "I'm paying off your debts not because you deserve it, but because I can. Not as your son, but as a man who no longer needs to hate you to feel strong. This isn't forgiveness, it's closure." When I finished, I leaned back and exhaled. For the first time, the weight in my chest loosened. The next morning, Maya caught me sealing the envelope. What's that? A letter, I said to them. Yeah, her eyes softened. You're forgiving them? Not exactly, I said. I'm just letting them go. She smiled faintly. That's forgiveness in disguise. I shrugged. Maybe, but it's not about them anymore. It's about me. She nodded. I'm proud of you. That night, I mailed the letter. No return address. No signature beyond Ethan. I didn't need them to respond. Days passed quietly. The calls stopped. The noise faded. For once, silence didn't feel empty. It felt earned. A week later, Maya knocked on my door, holding her phone. You paid their debts, didn't you? I hesitated. Yeah, she smiled. They called the cafe. They said thank you. I blinked. They called you? They didn't have your number anymore, she said. Your mom was crying. I didn't know how to feel. Relief, maybe. Not joy. Not regret. Just lightness. Maya sat beside me. You finally did it. Did what? Closed the circle. I nodded slowly. It feels strange. Peace always does, she said. We sat there in silence, the city lights glowing through the window. For the first time, I didn't feel like the boy begging for love or the man chasing revenge. I just felt human. I don't hate them anymore, I said quietly. Maya smiled. Then you're free. I looked at her, then at the skyline beyond us. Yeah, I said. Maybe I finally am. The sunrise spilled across my balcony, painting the city gold. I sipped my coffee, letting the quiet fill the spaces that used to ache. Maya called, just as the first light hit the skyline. You're up early, she said. I don't sleep much lately, I replied. Old habits? Working again? Thinking, I said. It's different now. Peaceful. She laughed softly. I never thought I'd hear you use that word, neither did I. She hesitated. Have you heard from them? Once in a while, I said. Birthday texts. Holiday cards. Nothing heavy. It's good, she said. Maybe distance really is the best kind of forgiveness. Maybe, I said. They're quiet now. Living off the fortune I built. Irony's funny that way. Do you resent it? She asked. I shook my head even though she couldn't see me. No. They taught me what not to become. That's worth something. She was silent for a moment. You sound different. I am, I said. I stopped measuring my worth by who hurt me. That's growth, she said warmly. I'm proud of you, I smiled. You've said that before. I'll keep saying it until you believe it. We talked about her cafe, her new staff, her plans to expand. She'd built her own little empire too. When we hung up, the apartment felt still again. I walked through the rooms, minimal, clean, everything in its place. Not the biggest house, but every corner whispered, you earned this. A framed photo sat on my shelf. It wasn't new, it was an old family picture I'd once sworn to throw away. My parents smiling, Adam's arm around me. A snapshot of a lie, but still part of my story. Sometimes I wondered if they ever looked at it and saw what they'd done. The last time I saw them was 2 years ago, at a charity gala. Mom approached me first, her voice small. You look happy, she said. I am, I told her. Dad joined her, quieter than I'd ever seen him. You've done well, son. I had good teachers, I said. You showed me how to live without approval. He nodded slowly. Maybe that's something worth learning. It was the first honest conversation we'd ever had. No apologies. No bitterness. Just truth. Now, years later, that memory didn't sting. It settled, like dust on a shelf that no longer needed cleaning. The phone buzzed again. A message from Mom. We hope you're doing well. We're proud of you. I read it twice before typing back. Thank you. I'm doing fine, no anger. No sarcasm. Just honesty. I stepped back onto the balcony watching the city wake up. Somewhere below, lives were beginning, hearts were breaking. Dreams were rebuilding, just like mine once did. Maya's words echoed faintly. You don't have to forgive to move on. Maybe she was wrong. Maybe forgiveness wasn't a single act, but a quiet decision you make every day. to stop bleeding from wounds that already healed. The wind brushed my face, carrying the scent of coffee and morning rain. I looked at the rising sun and whispered, "They laughed when I fell." The words didn't hurt anymore. I smiled faintly and added, "But now they live off my rise." It wasn't revenge, it was reality. I turned away from the edge, walked back inside, and shut the door behind me. The world outside kept moving, but for once, I didn't need to chase it. Everything I'd ever wanted was already here. Silence, peace, and the strength to stand alone. And for the first time in my life, that was enough.